Today on the Topic Show, MSNBC admits that they're helping Kamala in an undercover report. CNN meltdown after a guest confirmed that Minnesota allowed babies to be aborted up to the day of, and even in this instances of an unsuccessful abortion, Rosie O'Donnell called Elon Musk creepy. Kamala Harris' husband, while he has a timeline of his allegations of abusing women, Louis Vuitton gets a sponsorship for F1. Nvidia CEO claims that the demand for the Blackwell chip is insane, quote unquote, and Toyota Corolla has a recall. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see the founder at least twice a day. I say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Louis Vuitton getting a sponsorship with F1, one of the most viral sports the past couple years. Now, this comes to us thanks to CNN Business, which somehow statistically is still in business. I perhaps account for probably 18% of their network traffic. I'm only partially exaggerating. Now, this is also reposted from CNN Business by Reuters. And there you see some of those awesome F1 vehicles. They say, quote, Louis Vuitton owner clinches a 10-year sponsorship deal for Formula One. Which, interesting. They actually one of the few logos that'll be out there that isn't a tech company or Red Bull. Now they say, quote, French luxury giant LVMH, which again their founder is, depending on the stock market, is the richest man on the planet. Again, that goes back and forth between him and Elon. And they actually struck that 10-year partnership sponsorship deal with Formula One, and it'll be covering its Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, and Tag Heuer brand, and replacing longtime sponsor Rolex, the company announced on Wednesday, which is insane because usually. I usually make fun of sponsorships, especially when it comes to large public LPVs or large public venues or these types of sports teams, because it can be pretty hard to quantify how much of an ROI or return on investment you really make when you have the logo slapped on the cars. How many times are the customers going to say, oh yeah, I bought it because it was on the car? Granted, you could always argue brand awareness, but it's always a little precarious to actually try to justify an ROI, especially in the immediate term. But in terms of having a luxury brand like Louis Vuitton, to me, that actually makes 110% sense, especially when you consider who's watching Formula One. It's like high net worth individuals mostly. That's why, and a lot of tech executives, is the reason why pretty much every technology company or any enterprise technology company, pretty much all of them have some type of sponsorship deal with an F1 team, even if it's just a small logo on a car, or all the way up to Hewlett Packard Enterprise sponsoring a whole car with Mercedes. It is very prevalent because, again, a lot of decision makers are tuning into the sport, and they're going to see the logo and think, hey, maybe I see the CrowdStrike logo on that. Why not buy that for our company? And silly as that sounds, that does actually happen. Now, I can't believe Rolex. I'm not sure they just got outbid, but in terms of being a long-term sponsorship, especially for timed events in general, that's pretty rare for them to actually lose it. I'm pretty shocked at that. Now they say, quote, the sponsorship deal comes into effect in 2025 and marks a fresh push by LVMH into sports. The company, headed by the richest man, Bernard Arnault, paid some $166 million to be a premium sponsor of the Paris Olympics. It was great for all 25 people who watched that. I kid, I know a couple people tuned in. They say high-end Swiss watchmaker Rolex has been a partner of Formula One since 2013, which I don't know why I thought it was longer than that, but it makes sense when you look at the time frames. They sound about 10-year contracts. Now, I say luxury players are increasingly seeking to boost brand exposure with events combining hospitality, travel, and entertainment. At the Paris Olympics, LVMH and other companies broadened the realm of traditional brand sponsorships, taking in part medal ceremonies, for example. They also have LVMH saying, quote, for many years, several of our brands have also chosen to invest in Formula F1. We want to further grow this experimental dimension with Formula One providing all over the world. LVMH did not provide any financial details of the deal. Well, I can't. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty pain to say the least to get this type of sponsorship deal. And yeah, he spent 140 just on the Olympics. Olympics was 166 million. That was a one-time. Well, not one time. You know what I mean in terms of the frequency in F1. I can only imagine, given the number of people who are going to consistently tune in F1, that's going to be a huge sponsorship deal. Now, I'll be interested to see of the whole LVMH, of the whole company portfolio. I mean, will Louis Vuitton be the one that's most predominantly known? Again, they have a pretty large portfolio, including perfumes and all the others. thing, jewelry, clothing, and all the fancy things where people like to. I almost hilarious. I almost said invest in. It's terrible. It's not investment. Even when they say Rolex is only up in value, yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I'm pretty skeptical when people say anything physical can be a long-term investment. But I partially digress. Pretty interesting. I wonder. Let me know in the comments of the entire LVMH portfolio. Which one do you think will be most prevalent? Actually pull that up really quick. So you pull up LVMH. Let's see what their entire portfolio is. Because I'm sure, yeah, they have 65 subsidiaries and 75 brands. Look at the top ones really quick. Jeez Louise. Let's see. So watches, they have Zenith, Tag Heuer, Tiffany & Co., Hublot, Gerald, Fred, Daniel Roth, Bulgari. And again, I'm just going to pick some of the top ones you probably remember. Wine and spirits. Jeez Louise. There's like 20 or 30 of them. You got Hennessy, Cloudy Bay, Chivas DeAndres, Shandon, Belvedere. Fashion, they have, well, I'm not a fashion aficionado. Most of these sound foreign to me, but they do have, of course, Louis Vuitton. They have Marc Jacobs, Stella Patio, Off-White, Emilio Pucciati, Fendi. And for perfumes and cosmetics, they have even more. Sephora, which is the one I know or know of. Marc Jacobs Beauty, Makeup Forever, Parfums Giovanni, Fresh, Benefit Cosmetics. Yeah, they have a little bit of everything. I thought they had a couple more. And they got some champagnes. But yeah, in terms of the one everyone would know about, I think Louis Vuitton. Well, Tiffany & Co. I still can't. It's kind of sad it's not an American company anymore. It has been for 100 years plus. But let me know, do you think, I mean, overall, it's obviously going to have brand exposure, but how much of a direct correlation do you think it will have to sales? Do you think it'll drastically increase their sales throughout the next couple of years? And do you think it's a good brand placement? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Nvidia CEO claiming that the demand for the Blackwell chip is quote-unquote insane, which they better hope so, because their stock has not been doing great since the stock split, where it went back to around $100 per share. Was around $1,000 per share, and a lot of these employees, because the stock options, are buying Lamborghinis that are in the Nvidia green, which, as a fan of green cars, I think that's pretty cool. Kind of sad that Lamborghinis are automatic these days, just an abomination to the automotive experience. But I partially digress. This comes to us thanks to CJ, who's a writer at CNBC, which they say, quote, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang says demand for the next generation Blackwell chip is insane. Which, yeah, I don't think he needs to say this because his excitement is dying down. Again, the whole world, it was almost like a Halo watch party or Super Bowl. People were tuning in that much to the latest earnings call for the quarterly results for Nvidia, which, again, they did beat expectations, but people were severely disappointed because it wasn't the dramatic double-digit, blowing out of the water expectations for the sales, which historically they've been doing for the past couple of years. Now, they say, quote, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang said in an interview with CNBC closing bell overtime that demand for the next generation artificial intelligence chip Blackwell is insane. Blackwell is expected to cost between, geez Louise, $30,000 and $40,000 per unit. It is a hot demand like companies like OpenAI, Microsoft, Meta, and other firms building AI data centers. Nvidia has been the main beneficiary of artificial intelligence boom, with shares about 150% increase year to date. Which, yeah, and the thing about these chips, I mean, it's not like when you have a personal computer. A personal computer has one CPU, has one chip, and they have the graphics cards thrown in there as well, or graphics chip in there. But again, when you have a data center, you have a single rack mount server, they'll have a couple. And if you have a whole tower, I mean, the amount of these things you need for a single data center is astronomical. I mean, geez Louise, one rack of servers, I mean, it's going to be dozens of, I mean, that'd be what, 30, 40? I mean, those sales reps are going to be doing really happy. That's what I'm trying to say. They're going to be doing pretty darn well. Now, he continued, Jensen says, quote, everyone wants to have the most and everyone wants to be first. And when referencing to the chip, which again, that news helped increase the stock about 3%. And they say that Nvidia, 150. They say the company's revenue continued to surge during the financial second quarter to $30.404 billion, up 122% on an annual basis. Expects $32.5 billion in sales during the current quarter. Jeez Louise. And they have one of the best profit margins, almost as big as a pharmaceutical company. Now, you continue saying, quote, at a time when technology is moving so fast, it gives us an opportunity to triple down to really drive the innovation cycle so that we can increase capabilities, increase our throughput, decrease our cost, decrease our energy consumption. We're on a path to do that, and everything is on track. which, that's pretty good. Now, again, I think that in terms of the consumer purchasing of AI, this will probably be, a vast majority of the revenue is business to business. With most, again, it's gonna be the large companies like Microsoft and OpenAI buying these types of chips. Same with Meta, Facebook, and I can't but wonder, pulling up their stock track really quick, or the stock trend. It has actually gone anywhere significantly since the split. Because again, it's been struggling the past couple months, kind of go up and down. It's gone a little bit up, so it's about 125 per share. Granted, but not financial advice. By the time this video is rendered and uploaded, it'll change because that's what the stock market does. But yeah, so it looks like year to date. Oh, jeez Louise. Hindsight's always 2020 when it comes to investing. Year to date, it's 159%. Past 6 months, it's up 45%. Past 1 month, it's up 17.32%. Last week, about 5% increase. Of course, 1 year, it's up to 183%. Past 5 years, it's up 5 years, 2,645%. Then, just get comical, year to date, which, gosh dang, I still kick myself for not buying this years ago. Ironically, actually took an Nvidia training when I worked at Hewlett Packard Enterprise inside sales, and they gave us those free Nvidia stickers I put on my little protein shaker bottle. The sign was there. I should have just bought that years ago. The stock was worth nothing, relatively speaking, back then. The lifetime increase in the stock is up 312,200% increase. 312,200% increase. That's astronomical. I mean, it's comical. The current market cap is, what is this? $3.06 trillion. Now, the sad thing is, if you're one of those folks who likes to buy stock that gets paid dividends, the dividend yield is as weak as McDonald's coffee. It's 0.032%. Basically nothing. Now, granted, some folks will also argue the philosophy of saying they want to have every extra dollar the company makes reinvested into research and development. And I understand that as well. But yeah, it's a comically low dividend yield. It's like they barely have one. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see as these companies continue to make exponential increase in investments in AI. And a lot of those companies, let's be honest, they are struggling. So Microsoft, these companies are doing some layoffs, but overall, those are the more durable businesses that are able to withstand a lot of economic and political uncertainty and slowdowns. Because again, they have such a secure business model. They have so many secured, locked-in contracts. I think, as crazy as I'm actually and again, not financial advice, but I suspect throughout the rest of the year, Nvidia will do just fine and probably increase those sales, especially those large corporate accounts. It'll be fascinating to see what the impact is on end users as we get to more and more hands-on with experience with these types of technologies. But let me know. Do you think Nvidia stock, do you think is overrated? Do you think the best days are already long gone? It's too late to invest? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Pride podcast, you have Rosie O'Donnell calling Elon Musk creepy. Has to be the ultimate example of the pot calling the kettle black. Because, Rosie O'Donnell is, he's gone downhill like the quality of a Boeing airplane. Which, actually, no, that's bad metaphor, because Boeing airplanes used to be robust, great military vehicles, very reliable. He's gone down. Will be a more apt metaphor for this situation. Perhaps the 2001 Dodge Grand Caravan, which started off moderately reliable and having some paint, but within a couple of years of living in the Midwest, presumably, broke down, having more and more rust on it, more and more pieces of metal flaking off, and reliability basically to nothing. Yeah, the old Dodge Grand Caravan is not missed, but I partially digress. This comes to us thanks to Ian Miles Chong over the good old X Twitter, saying, quote, Rosie O'Donnell says Elon Musk is creepy. Has she looked at herself in a mirror lately? Which, those glasses aren't helping. I mean, the glasses are as thick as a 2x4. And, I mean, I'm no artist, but I could have designed something better with crayon. It's not. I'm sorry. I should have put a visual disclaimer in the show. If you're watching on good old Rumble or YouTube, you are now looking at a picture of Rosie O'Donnell in what looks like to be a rudimentary black t-shirt. Thankfully, we don't see her entire body. You see mainly her face, which is still, I understand. I will try to do better in that regard. If you're tuning in on something like Spotify or Apple Podcast, you are spared this visual effect. Without too much further ado, see what Rosie has to say.
Certainly is. So I think I told you in the last TikTok, or maybe I didn't, that I signed off of Twitter, X, because once he took over, I wasn't doing anything on there anyway. But then I thought, why am I leaving it up, right? So I deleted it for 1 year. And then after 1 year, you know, you could go back if you want, but I'm not going back. I really do not enjoy Elon Musk at all. He's creepy to me. There, I said it. There, I said it. Okay, hold please. Let me check. Certainly is. So I think I told you in the last TikTok.
Oh, come on, Elon.
Well, maybe I didn't.
Why do the videos automatically restart? I don't know if the joke in IT is it's not a bug, it's a feature. Now, it went about really viral. Got 250,000 views and 9.3 thousand likes. And yeah, how she is. I mean, of all the things Donald Trump called in terms of being a right call, yeah, he's calling Donald Trump as pretty on point. Now, some of the top comments coming from Elon Musk himself, who simply just had the laughy emoji, and he got 1.4 thousand likes. You also have a picture of what looks like to be some overweight dude exiting a cave, and it's from Freaky Squid saying, "Dude is weird." And it says Rosie O'Donnell came out of her den, and she saw her shadow, which means 4 more years of Trump. And 238 likes. DSS says, "Wait, are you sure that's Rosie? Looks like Keith Olbermann." Getting 164 likes. John simply says, "Rosie O'Donnell calling anyone creepy is rich coming from her. Elon is changing the game while she is stuck in the past." Getting 225 likes. Old School A says, "Jealousy is ugly. Just look at her face." Unquote. Getting 160 likes. Joey says, "Liberal women say the most insane things." Getting 72 likes. Dick Ball says, "She hates men, especially successful men." Getting 88 likes. Let's see. Common Sense Todd says, "Rosie O'Donnell reminds me of a male version of Keith Olbermann." Getting 28 likes as well. MC says, has a picture of a, what is it, MPC person with the blue hair, the stubble in the face. And he says, "Conservatives are weird." Getting 6 likes. Betsy says, "Elon doesn't want to date you, Rosie O'Donnell." Getting 18 likes. Different Answer Meme says, "Nasty woman." Getting 50 likes. And I should, let's be honest, when you hear that phrase, you know it's you hear it in Trump's voice. So let me do my futile attempt. "Ugly woman, Rosie O'Donnell. Only call her Rosie O'Donnell a pig, not other women. She's barely a woman." As not the worst Trump impression, debatably, today. But let me know. Let's see. Drunk Pelosi says, "I know," and Vance is creepy of these two. There's a picture of Vance being in a Marine uniform, then Tim Walz after a DUI, getting a mugshot, getting 33 likes. Oh, jeez. Festivus96 has a picture of Kyle's cousin from South Park, and it's got 19 likes. I was gonna say, the result is uncanny. So yeah, she used to be, a big star on the TV. I mean, everyone watched her show. People tuned in. Many people enjoyed her content. But yeah, she's still culturally irrelevant. I don't even know what she's doing these days. And are you a longtime fan of Rosie O'Donnell? Does it change your perception of her? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news: you have Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff. His accusation timeline is coming to the forefront, which is kind of ironic, but par for the course it comes to leftists having people, and again, this is allegation, allegedly, some of these things, they want to turn evil people into martyrs. Now, this comes to us thanks to End Wokeness on the good old X Twitter. He says, quote, "Doug Emhoff timeline. 2009, impregnated his child's nanny. 2019, physically assaulted his girlfriend. 2023, lectures us on toxic masculinity. 2024, hailed for redefining masculinity." Which, that's what these people do. And again, I think you have to say allegedly for some of that stuff. So I'll say that.
Talked
allegedly.
about your role here is how your role has reshaped the perception of masculinity. And I'm not sure you planned on that, but you are an incredibly supportive spouse. Has that been an evolution for you? And do you think that's part of the role you might play as first gentleman?
It's funny. I've started to think a lot about this. I've always been like this. My dad was like this. And to me, it's the...
Talked about your role here is how your...
Let's go to the video.
Talk about masculinity for a moment.
Not a bit.
Has being second gentleman changed your own view of perceived gender roles, or what it
So Kamala Harris didn't even take his name?
means to be a man?
This is something I've thought about a lot and something I've spoken about a lot.
He should be depressed, like, "I'm not a man."
There's too much of toxicity, masculine toxicity out there, and we've kind of
A real man has never used that phrase, ever.
confused what it means to be a man, what it means to be masculine, where you've got this trope out there that you've got to be tough and,
Yeah.
angry and lash out, to be
Real men are tough. You have to be. It's how you defend your family, your friends.
strong. It's just the opposite.
Yeah, we can agree with that. You're apparently weak. So weak that you actually abuse women, apparently. Disgusting.
Strength is how you show your love for people. Strength is how you are for people and how you have their back and how you stick up for other people and pushing out against bullies. I mean, that's what I believe it is. So every time I can speak against this toxicity, we're seeing it with our younger people. We're seeing it in our discourse, in our politics, in the media. You're seeing it as it relates to so many of the issues that we're pushing back on. So I think it's a problem, and I'm going to continue to use this platform every time I get to speak out against this toxic masculinity that's out there.
There's a reason they're losing young males in droves to Republican Party and Libertarian Party. Because, yeah. They got 2.4 million views and 57,000 likes. Now, one of the first comments comes from Colin Rugg, says, quote, one of the most concerning lines of the report about Emhoff was accused of causing her to have a miscarriage. And it says, quote, all three of Jane's friends said that she had told them about a disturbing alleged incident during her relationship with second gentleman, in which Emhoff nonchalantly admitted to impregnating Taylor. Emhoff told Jane that the nanny accused him of causing her to have a miscarriage, the friends claimed. Which, that's the... No, it's hard to comprehend something that's more evil than doing that. That's disgusting. Now, that also got... That comment from Colin got 686 likes. Other comments coming from Valentino Gomez says, quote, Kamala's pics are pure gold, getting 461 likes. Yeah, that's good as Taylor Swift's pics. Arthur Eagleman says, quote, there's nothing masculine about Doug Emhoff getting 748. Let's make it 749 likes. AKA says, so much masculinity, getting 33 likes. Which, yeah. American Papa Bear says, Doug is a textbook beta male. True, getting 41 likes. Let's see. And there you can see the Democrat Media TM has the picture of the Daily Mail article where it says, quote, Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, forcibly slapped his ex-girlfriend for flirting with another man in a booze-raged incident after the star-studded gala. And apparently he did it with such force, allegedly, that she actually turned around like a cartoon character. This, yeah, disgusting. Got 31 likes. Elon Musk simply said an exclamation point, getting 2.4 thousand likes. Paul Suzupa says, quote, Kamala is horrible taste in men, getting 71 likes. Let's see here. Okay, let's see if there's any contrarian statements here. Florida 1 says, media always spin the liberal offenses to become acceptable. There's a picture of Bill Clinton and Hillary, which, yeah, believe all women, except, let's forget that Bill had that power. The same party that talks about all the power inequalities. Oh, yeah, Bill Clinton, they still roll him out on stage to get people excited for the DNC and all these Democratic events. And yet, Monica Lewinsky, yeah, ridiculous. I got 64 likes. Let's see. Yeah, another really creepy thing. Three-sided story says 2023 makes out with Jill Biden at the State of the Union. It's one of the creepiest things on the planet. So again, this is a picture of, again, I don't say it's a weak name, but Doug Emhoff, whatever that is. It's not a cool masculine name like Topping. Oh wait, that's my name. I partially digress, I'm a kid. But he's kissing Jill Biden on the lips, which is a disgusting thing in and of itself. Apparently he did not throw up or disintegrate or what happened to when you look at Medusa in the eyes. He didn't turn into stone. But who kisses someone like that on the lips? I mean, you could joke about Italians kissing people on the cheek, but you're kissing another man's wife on the lips? The hell's wrong with you? In what scenario is that? Unless she's on the ground dying and she needs mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, which is different than a kiss. That's the only comprehensible thing I can think of in terms of your lips being anywhere near her lips. That's ridiculous and creepy as hell. It's also Jill Biden, so I know. Yeah, this guy does not pass the gut check. Let's see. Going down here. Let's see. Hey, hello, I'm Kelly Joe. Says, if Doug is the new face of masculinity, I'll pass, getting 61 likes. Yeah. Then Dexia American Truther says, as a woman who appreciates a masculine man, Doug Emhoff isn't one, getting 71 likes, which, yeah. Samuel Kulber says, and he's unburdened by what has been, feeling the joy yet, getting 47 likes. Which, yeah, the party that says believe all women, I guarantee you they're going to give him a massive pass. And if the allegations are proven to be true, they'll probably have some more. They'll use excuses of, oh yeah, he was drunk, he was impaired. It's not the real Doug. No. It's yeah, I can't, like all the people that, all the other evil people they turn to martyrs, they completely gloss over their past and just focus on something that they want to magnify. It's ridiculous. Now, in terms of, will this have a shift on the election? I'm not sure how many, I mean, I still can't believe these names have the same last name. I'm not sure how many people even know this guy's name. I mean, most people would call him, like the article in the Daily Mail literally just says Kamala Harris' husband. And then it eventually just said Doug Emhoff, or Emhoff. I'm not sure how many people actually know his name. Is there enough name recognition where people actually care? Will it actually sway some votes? I don't know. I'm a little pessimistic myself, but let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have MSNBC host admitting that they want to push Kamala Harris in an undercover video. This comes to us thanks to James O'Keefe. It says, quote, breaking, MSNBC producer admits MSNBC is, quote, doing all it can help the Harris campaign. In an undercover date with OMG journalist Basil Hobman, a writer and producer at MSNBC show Ayman, was asked what the network has done to assist the Kamala Harris campaign. He revealed on camera that message of the day is, and MSNBC actually pushes Harris's narrative to help her win. He admits that they're doing all that they can to help her get elected, while the network operation is an extension of her campaign. He went on to say that MSNBC is indistinguishable from the party for highlighting their partisan agenda, which, yeah, it's been that way for years. And how dumb, again, it's always these guys who have to talk pejorative about their looks. I don't have much ground to stand on, but it's always these guys on these undercover dates, and within a couple minutes, they just spill the beans on, like, their entire company and their org structure. I mean, it's just, we saw this with the Disney, with the COVID czar in New York City, who had the adult sex parties with during the lockdowns and pushing the jab. But we'll watch the first minute or two. It's about 9 minutes long. And again, if you want to see the whole thing, go to OMG Media or James O'Keefe. There you see who has a date. He has a button up. He doesn't wear a suit. Talk about going half-ass.
So do you feel like MSNBC is doing enough to help the Harris campaign?
I mean, they're doing all they can.
Meet Basil Hamden, a writer and producer for MSNBC's Weekend.
What a weak name. His name is Basil? That's ridiculous. It's almost as ridiculous as having a name like Topping. Oh, wait. I partially digress.
Show Ayman. Basil also reveals that, quote, what her message of the day is their MSNBC's message of the day.
What have they done to help the Harris campaign?
Amplify her message. What her message of the day is their message of the day.
Hamden revealed that MSNBC is the Democratic Party's mouthpiece and is doing anything to get Kamala elected. Hamden says this news network is indistinguishable from the Democratic Party.
So is MSNBC just like doing whatever it takes to get Kamala elected?
Yes. It hammers home the point that I'm making, that this news network is indistinguishable from the party.
Are they just the Democratic Party's mouthpiece?
Exactly.
MSNBC is the Democratic Party's mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah.
Basil calls...
This is probably one of those things, but it's also a first date, too. Just spilling all the beans. Now, obviously, you and I are happy because you get to actually see the mask slip from MSNBC to show who they really are. But, again, talk about low intellect guy. Jeez.
MSNBC viewers brainwashed and states that MSNBC made their viewers dumber over the years.
Viewers get mad at the guests or the host if the host were to criticize Democrats. They've made their viewers dumber over the years. I think brainwashing and dumbing down,
It's bad.
aggressive,
I get it.
helps Trump.
When she's delivering these messages now, I think she keeps getting better.
Kamala Harris is telling the truth. The hate campaign against Kamala Harris has begun. They purposefully pronounce her name wrong.
But as a black woman, the product of a mixed marriage, she's an inspiration.
I don't know, Nicole, vote for her or don't vote for her, but isn't it great to just have a positive conversation right now?
Wow.
Last week, we saw Vice President Kamala Harris's...
Which, yeah, again, the whole thing's about 11 minutes long. Go to OMG, James O'Keefe, check it out. Again, hashtag, is it James O'Keefe 3 or 3 eyes for his actual hashtag on the X Twitter. And it's no surprise. I mean, most mainstream media has been this way for, I'd say more than a decade. But it's funny to hear the quiet part out loud where they just admit, and again, I don't know how dumb this guy is. Like the first date, he goes, oh yeah, we're manipulating the public, making them dumber. And he's laughing like, oh yeah, we're doing that. Thank God for places like Rumble and X Twitter where you actually have freedom of speech. You can actually get quality content. It's not just ridiculous, rudimentary, just brainwashing people. Now, this was pretty viral. Thankfully, got 25.2 million views as well as 90,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from Valentina Gomez saying, quote, "Now I understand why Ahmad MSNBC was so afraid to debate me. I was wrong. You're not a little boy. You're bought and paid for pussy." Got 4.2 thousand likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, "And there you have it. Yet another conspiracy theory confirmed, getting 4,000 likes." Let's see. The Texas one says, "Life in prison for interference," getting 96 likes. It's making 97, which, none of them will ever be held accountable. They dodge accountability like Neo in the Matrix dodging those bullets, which, fascinatingly enough, decades later, that movie still holds up. Great plot and effects. Black Insurrectionist says, quote, "ABC, MSNBC, CBS, they're all in on it, getting 4.9 thousand likes." Donald J. Trump press release commentary account says, "Trump voters." This picture of, it's like a little Russian doll with Obama in the middle, then it's Biden and Kamala. It says, "Vote no to Obama's fourth term." Getting 2.1 thousand likes. Junita Broderick says, quote, "The rottenness of the media on full display. You can't hate them enough," getting 7.3 thousand likes. Vince Langman says, quote, "This is the least surprising video I've seen on X in years, but it's nice to get further confirmation of what we knew was true," getting 560 likes. He also says MSN, mainstream media is the enemy of the people, getting 537 likes. That's funny. Junior Broderick says, and he's gone. It says Basil Handman, and it's a writer producer who lives in New York, of course, and says these posts are protected. Only confirmed followers have access to his profile. Funny how that site Political Owl always censor. They lock down their comments, so you actually can't comment on their profile, their posts, unless they follow you or something like that. And then they just, block everything. The side of censorship. Getting 1,000 likes for that. Let's see. George says they have no shame at all, getting 617 likes. Also have Colin Wright says, "Wow, this guy's incredibly dense. It was so obvious the way she worded and reworded her question that she was looking to see if he responded in agreement to very specific questions, and he gave her exactly what she was looking for," getting 258 likes. Let's see. Any contrarian statements here? Not too many. Griff Grilly says, "And it is enough. As the saying goes, you can't polish a turban." It's an AI image of Kamala Harris running through reporters refusing to answer questions. Getting 561 likes. Josh Gongular says, "Indistinguishable from the Democrat Party." He renamed it to MSDNC, which appropriate. Getting 109 likes. Let's see here. A couple of gifs of people breaking down when they say, when you find out your data is James O'Keefe. 5 people taking screenshots of this Basil and it says, "Oh yeah, it's locked down. You can't see it anymore." Which, yeah, now I'm curious. I want to actually do that myself in my personal profile. Let's see. Is it really Basil? Basel? Y Handman. Let's see. HED. Oh, A-N. That's why. Oh, yep. Locked it down. You can't see anything. Yep. No, yeah, I can't. Well, they might. I was about to say maybe they'll get fired because they got caught. So maybe they'll actually get disciplined at work. But yeah, speaking the truth, this is the antithesis of what they want over there. Not too surprising to have more election interference, and it'll be interesting to see how many Americans really trust the mainstream media these days. I'm hoping that percentage just continues to dwindle to nothing. But let me know in the comments. Are you surprised by this development, this undercover report? And I was gonna say, how many more? You can't help but think. Hopefully, we see the same report, and I can't help but think it'll confirm that our news stations are doing exactly the same. That allegation that ABC gave the questions to the presidential debate to Kamala before, but no proof has come to the surface yet. But who knows what might happen tomorrow? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have CNN having a meltdown after a guest confirms that Minnesota allowed infants to die after surviving an abortion. It's, yeah, there's nothing they hate more than the truth on CNN. That's comes thanks to Liv's a TikTok, in which she says, quote, "Watch the CNN panel meltdown after Scott Jennings informs them that records of the Minnesota Department of Health noted 8 cases of infants dying after initially surviving abortion procedures during Walz's terms as governor." It's got 1.7 million views and 42,000 likes. The only thing they do right on CNN is they did suit up. They did one thing right.
I mean, she's got to staff the whole government. This was her first choice?
No, I mean, I hear your talking point about you're not attacking him that he's not a good governor. You're saying that
he's a terrible governor.
He doesn't look the part. Look, The vice presidential debate, like people have said, it's a do no harm. Tim Walz did not do harm tonight. Also, at the end of, like, when we started really talking about domestic policies, abortion, J.D. Vance's answers were empty. They're, oh, we have to do better. He didn't tell actually what his policy was. He says that, like, our party is not doing well on this issue, and rather than saying, like, we need to change our policy, he just went in circles. And then Tim Walz came back and actually said what the overwhelming majority of people actually want the abortion policy to be is to at least restore Roe. Yes, because that is why in J.D. Vance's state, my home state, J.D. Vance's, the overwhelming population of Ohio voted against J.D. Vance's state. But then he didn't say what his position would be. He said, they don't like what I believe, but I'm not going to tell you what I believe.
Two things on abortion. Walz totally lied about the post-abortion infant bill. Totally lied about that. And number two, he totally sidestepped it is true. He totally sidestepped the question about what restrictions do you prefer, just like Harris. I mean, he essentially ratified the position, which is no restrictions. I thought Vance talked about the issue with some compassion, and he acknowledged the political reality in Ohio, which you just brought up.
Across the country.
I couldn't believe it. It was a masterful pivot by Vance. I think he won the exchange.
On this abortion thing, because I do not think that's what the Minnesota law states, I wish that Republicans would stop saying, oh, they're allowing babies to be killed once they're born. Why not talk about the fact, which is actually a valid point, babies are now being resuscitated at 23 weeks. They've lived in the NICU at that point. That's where you could start the conversation if you want some restrictions on abortion. I feel like J.D. Vance is actually right to say Republicans are completely in the wrong space around the issue of reproductive rights, but he didn't offer the right solution or even identify what
he basically showed solicitude for the victims of policies that he supports. Give him credit for solicitude. Look, the policies, maybe not.
I just had this thing in Minnesota. There were 8 deaths among infants who survived abortion attempts during Tim Walz's tenure as governor. It happened. They don't want to talk about the fact that it happened, but there were children.
What's the source?
First of all, let me ask you a question. Since you've deeply researched this, what were the condition of these? Of these babies when they were born? What was the participation of the family?
They tried to abort the babies, and they survived the abortion, and then they died.
And you think that families casually tossed them aside?
No, I think.
Tell me what their condition was, Scott. Could they have survived? And was it a case of families not wanting children to suffer when they were told that they are doomed?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that
is the reality of the case.
That seems important to me.
Here's what I will say. Keep talking about that, because when you all talk about abortion like this, it is when women and that gender gap can.
So according to this guy, death is better than suffering, according to that guy, apparently.
Continues to divide, not in your favor, because women, it is disrespectful to pretend like women are making choices about abortion. That is the intent to just let a baby die at 9 months. Let me finish it here. And it is dishonest for J.D. Vance to go up there and try and push that narrative. And that is what I'm saying when I said he presented it well, but his policies and what he was saying was not truthful. It just wasn't. And that is why the overwhelming American people, since Roe has been overturned, you guys are not winning. You are not winning. And if you run on this issue, you will not win in November.
They're not running on this issue. They're lying on this issue. They're running on, it's up to the states, and they're running on Donald Trump's moderate position of some reasonable restrictions, rape, incest, and life of the mother, IVF support.
Can I just say something about this?
They're lying.
You are one of your frequent go-to points is Kamala Harris said this in 2019. That's her position. Donald Trump said women should be punished. You talk about his moderate position. His moderate position has been adopted over the course of this campaign for purposes of this campaign after he put the justices on the Supreme Court who overturned Roe, who've created a crisis for women who live in 20 states in this.
Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, if you look at her, kind of her opinion, even she thought the basis of the Roe v. Wade wasn't correct.
Country.
His position is moderate, and it is in line with what I think most Americans.
Do you believe him when he said that women should?
And I think Harris and Walz have proven they cannot discuss even a single restriction that they want.
Do you believe when he said women should be punished? Do you believe?
I don't believe, and no Republican wants women to be punished.
No, but he said it. Do you believe him when he said it?
And at the time, it was roundly criticized by other Republicans.
Did you believe him when he said it?
I can tell you what Republicans believe, which is.
I'm just asking you what Trump believes.
I'm telling you what he's running on right now.
I know what he's running on right now.
I know what he's running on.
intellect. I was gonna say I didn't think CNN could devolve, but they impressed me. They have been able to devolve. It always says the equal mental intellect or lack thereof of something like The View, which again for what was it, almost a year plus a year. I would say consistently he's not going to pass any federal law. It's relegated back to the states, and yet they are driving this point home. They're raising campaign funds. I say they, Democrats and leftists, saying that your abortion is it's under attack. Which no, in fact, in Minnesota you can do whatever you want. In other states, it's more restrictive. Again, if you want to change, go to Hobby Lobby, get some nice high-quality poster board, and peacefully protest and let your opinion be known, and collect the signatures, and maybe get on a ballot. But again, in terms of the federal election, it has nothing to do with it, but they're so desperate for votes. They know some people are just so emotionally invested in the topic, they'll be blinded. They won't even listen to facts, logic, or reason. Now, thankfully, this went pretty viral. Got 1.7 million views as well as 42,000 likes. Well, the first one's coming from AKA saying, quote, all Tim Walz did was lie, getting 381 likes. Chuck Costello says, quote, straight meltdown, getting 255 likes. Craig Chamberlain says, quote, the left never likes facing the real world reality of their own positions. They got 121 likes. Let's see here. And it does have a little graph, or not graph, it has a little picture of Tim Walz. And it says, Tim Walz made it legal to coerce women in abortion. Says, data from the Minnesota Department of Health indicate that since Governor Walz was inaugurated in 2019, 8 babies survived abortion attempts in Minnesota. On 5 occasions, no measures were taken to preserve life. On 3 occasions, only comfort was provided. Tragically, all these babies died. Instead of strengthening protections for those children, SF 2995, a bill Walz signed last year, repealed the Born Infant Alive Protection Act, which was intended to provide legal protection for infants who survived abortions. Which, I can't think how soulless or evil you are to think, oh yeah, the baby's been born, we should get rid of it. I mean, give it up to adoption. If you ever talk to a friend or I think most people know someone in our lives who try to adopt, it's ridiculously difficult. It takes such a long period of time because there's so much demand for it. There are people who would love that baby, and yet this guy he didn't want a law saying, okay, we'd save that kid. They would terminate it. They make it comfortable in its last moments of existence. Ridiculous. That got 121 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, Scott Jennings was the only person speaking on the panel who wasn't trying to dehumanize babies, getting 654 likes, which, again, I'd love to have them give it an actual answer of, well, what restrictions should we have? They're so radical, if they say anything at all, they will say none. Which, again, shows you how much, again, the slippery slope is not a theory, it's a fact. I mean, when I was a kid, back in my day, back when we had N64 and cartridge systems and no downloadable content, I mean, back then, the consensus for the Democrats were abortion was supposed to be safe, legal, and rare. That was the standard they all thought. Most people agreed it wasn't morally right, and Republicans kind of just, they were obviously more restrictive. They saw in some states, they said not at all. But Democrats said, okay, Democrats agreed this was not a good thing. They said if there are exceptions, they say this should happen and it should be safe, legal, and rare. That's what they campaigned on for decades. And now, not only do they brag about it and they claim it's a right and they want to push it all the way up to 9 months plus, well, at the DNC, they had an abortion mobile outside the building, as well as a vasectomy machine there, or a service. That's how much they hate babies. It's mind-blowing. And again, it's also disingenuous for them to continue using this topic to raise campaign funds and drive people to the ballot, drive people to go vote. When again, this topic has been relegated to the states. The Supreme Court has ruled. If you want to have abortion up to 9 months, that's what they do in Minnesota. The people there love it, apparently. If you want to be more restrictive, go somewhere like Texas or Florida. If somewhere in the middle, like maybe a purple state, maybe you have a certain weeks, or they have the, 16 weeks is very common, kind of the cutoff period, so to say, in many states. But again, it's a state's issue. But they will never stop. This is one of the most emotionally charged topics. They'll never stop raising campaign funds on it. And again, people have the right to it as well. Don't get me wrong. They also use it to raise funds. They also use it to raise awareness. But again, this election has nothing to do with it, but it is one of the top things, especially when you look at like the polls of what especially young women care about, and they really want this. And it's one of the things where they will vote. But even though, again, their vote won't change anything, voting for their state representatives in their state, that will, and that's how it works. It's a state's issue. But yeah, it is astonishing how much this topic is almost like they worship it these days. And I do think, again, it shouldn't, because it's a state's issue, but I do think this will be one of the biggest things that has an influence on the upcoming election. But let me know, do you think the average person has done a modicum of research to realize this is not going to be influenced by the federal government And again, you've had Trump reaffirm multiple times he wouldn't pass any federal law, even if he could, which he couldn't because of the Supreme Court. But again, I digress. Let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Toyota Corolla hybrid being recalled. Yeah, another reason not to buy hybrids. And another stain on the reputation of Toyota, which is, historically speaking, the Toyota family is one of the most successful entrepreneurial stories in history and makes some of the best cars to bar none. I mean, the most successful car in history ever manufactured or sold is the Toyota Corolla. So I would never buy a hybrid. If you want durability, you get a Japanese vehicle with, a good old internal combustion engine. My parents bought a 2001 Honda Accord new. Still works like a champ to this day because it's more simplistic. It's got 4 cylinders. Unfortunately, the automatic, so we'll say in that regard, but it's a durable piece of machinery and it's great. Now, this brought us to Union Rayo, in which they say, quote, "Goodbye, Toyota, alerting more than 432,100 owners to recall their vehicles for this serious brake failure. Here's a list of affected vehicles." Which, they had that issue a couple of years back with the same, and brakes that actually didn't work, and the floor mat that would get stuck. And I say, quote, "The recall specifically affects Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid, which was produced between June 2022 and September 2024. These vehicles have exhibited problems with the braking assist system, particularly when drivers are turning a corner. The defect can cause the brake pedal to become temporarily unresponsive or stiff, leading to an extended stopping distance and increased risks of an accident. The source of the problem, darn electronics and technology, say, quote, "The issue stems from the failure with the electronic control unit, ECU software, responsible for controlling stability. The malfunction of the system prevents proper regulation of brake fluid pressure while cornering, affecting the braking performance. The component in question was manufactured by Bosch, a German company known for supplying high-quality automotive systems," which, again, especially not good because no one's going to read beyond the headline, unfortunately, so they're going to blame Toyota, which, again, Bosch they manufacture components for vehicles for pretty much every single manufacturer, including like Bugatti, all the way down to Toyota and hybrid. Like, they do it for everyone, and yet people are going to say Toyota because, again, Toyota's being recalled. Bosch isn't going out there and saying we need to recall this little ECU. They say, quote, "While the bulk of the affected vehicles are in the U.S., the recall extends to approximately 51,000 vehicles across North America. Toyota is also investigating whether the issue is present in vehicles sold in other regions. The company is dedicated to ensuring safety of its customers worldwide and assessing whether other models are actually hurt." And they say, well, thankfully, of course it is going to be free to fix the issue if you're a consumer. They say, quote, "How will they address the issue? To fix the issue, Toyota will provide a free ECU software upgrade for the affected vehicles. The updates will be carried out via an authorized Toyota dealerships at no cost to the owners. Toyota plans to notify all affected vehicle owners starting November 2024, or just tune into this show since you usually get these recall notices, weeks or months before them." They say, quote, "But those concerned can check their status using their vehicle identification number, known as your VIN number, on Toyota's website or through the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration." Which, they say, they also note that, despite this, it's one of the best-selling cars in history. It's sold over 50 million units since it was introduced in 1966. And, not great news for a company that's had a couple recalls this year and already struggling with, again, their brand is known for reliability. They make some fun stick shift cars, which I greatly appreciate. It's a rare thing these days, but again, the core of what make Toyota great is the, what used to be bulletproof reliability. And in this case, they should have vetted out their subcontractors more and tested out those components more because, again, Toyota makes their own engines, they make the transmissions, they make the body panels, but a lot of these vehicles, you got 10,000 plus components in a vehicle these days. A lot of them are not manufactured. In this case, they should have done a little more quality control when it comes to Bosch and, make sure that it was working all the time. But fortunately, it seems like there's an issue with that. So, yet another recall. I have to say, Toyota, this Corolla recall of the most iconic vehicle, the most successful vehicle you ever sold. Gotta say, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.